Hello, everybody, and welcome back to KnowledgeGainz. I thought I would do a different style of video today with the audio recordings and some video and images, playing in the back. So before we get started, I would just like to thank each and every one of you for your support and your help with growing this channel. I recently looked at my Amazon purchases over the past year and found that I bought my first book on February 12th of 2015, so just a little under a year ago, and man, my life has changed significantly since I bought that first book. The first book I ever bought was Sam Walton's book, Made in America, and if you haven't read this book, I strongly encourage you to check it out. Sam Walton made $160 billion for himself, and reading that book could give you mass amounts of courage, and you can learn from his mistakes so that you don't wind up making similar ones in your life. So, since February 12th of last year, I've purchased over 58 books and spent about $540 doing so. I'll take a side note, and I'll just let you know that I am a full-time college student, and money can be pretty scarce sometimes. But seriously, let me tell you, my life has changed so much in the past year. I can't even put it into words. I'm happier. I do more. I believe in what I do, and my mentality towards learning and success has changed drastically. I'll tell you a short little story here before we get started. It started back in the spring of last year, and I was wrapping up my second semester as a sophomore. And I didn't have any plans for an internship over the summer, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I did know one thing. I didn't want to work for money simply for the sake of having money. I saw it as a waste of time, and I envisioned myself going to a job I hated to make money that I didn't need, to spend it on things that I didn't want and things I honestly didn't need. I saw it as a vicious cycle, and I had to get out. So I did. I chose to not work over the summer, and let me tell you, my parents despised me for it, and it's not their fault. They just simply didn't understand where I was coming from. My girlfriend at the time wasn't too happy about it either. Anyways, I got a job mulching for my aunt. It was just a one-time thing, and I got a $300 payout, which was really nice at the time because at that period in time, I had, after the payout, $400 to my name, which really wasn't a lot. I was kind of grinding and just, living, I guess. But, it was at that point I got that $300 payout. I decided to go on Amazon and spend $240 on books. And I know it sounds pretty crazy, but I honestly believed that the books I bought could change my life. And that was enough for me. So I bought, I think about, I want to say 18 books. And I spent the next month and a half reading them and rereading them. I read probably 4 hours a day, and I took notes. I did the whole nine yards there. But my parents, still weren't really convinced that this would have any tangible effects on my life. But I can sit here right now and tell you that if I hadn't chose to not work, and if I didn't spend all my money on books that summer, I would still be trapped in the rat race. The shit mentality that most of the people you and I know are trapped in. It's that mindset that tells them to settle, to be normal and average. Get a safe job that pays well, get a house and be safe. These are all things for the average and the normal people. And for those who are, too afraid to take a leap and just go for it. Over the summer, I was like, you spend about a third of your life at work. And if you don't enjoy it, you're literally wasting a third of your life. Let's put it into perspective a little bit. Let's say that you live to be 60 years old. If you follow this guideline and this pattern, then technically you die at age 40. 20 years of your life gone. To what? The nice car in your driveway, your social status in that prestigious neighborhood that you live in. Imagine yourself laying on your deathbed, and I can almost guarantee you that you'd wish you had those 20 years back to do something meaningful and to enjoy life. So the change starts now. Books are the vehicle that can turn those ideas concrete. You have to develop a thirst for knowledge, and if you do, you will achieve great things. You'll learn from the greats, the people who were different, who challenged the status quo and made their mark here. Develop that curiosity and the willingness to learn, and it will pay back immensely. Time and time again, Invest in yourself, invest in your brain, and you'll reach your full potential. It just takes time, and you have to believe. So, with that being said, let's get into our books for this week. Today, we are going to be talking about the 3 books I read, and those 3 books are Seneca on the Shortness of Life, Contagious by Jonah Berger, and Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. When I pair my books for the week, I really try to get a nice variety of topics so I can get the maximum amount of neural connections or serendipity. So this week I have a philosophy book, a book on marketing, and a book on success. This variety allows me to stay interested and not get burned out on any one subject. If I do find myself getting bored with a certain section, I'll just switch to one of the other 2 books and keep my mind running at full power. I recently started doing this pairing system, and it has increased my gains quite a bit. So the first book I'm going to be talking about today is Seneca, called The Shortness of Life. And this book is my favorite quote of all time, and I'll recite it here for you. Seneca says, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements, if it were all well invested. But when it is wasted on heedless luxury and spent on no good activity, we are forced at last, by death's final constraint, to realize that it has passed before we even knew it was passing. So it is, we are not given a short life, but we make it short. And we are not ill-supplied, but wasteful of it." This quote literally scared me into productivity. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, it worked. Seneca is an ancient Greek philosopher who lived from 5 BC to 65 AD. This quote comes to show that the same problems people had with time management thousands of years ago are still prevalent today. Seneca goes on to say in the book, he says, "Many pursue no fixed goal, but are tossed about in an ever-changing design by a fickleness which is shifting, inconsistent, and never satisfied with itself. It is a small part of life we truly live. Indeed, all the rest is not life, but merely time." Wow. This is some seriously powerful stuff. If you have no goal, or you do, but you don't know if it's the right goal, try this little test. Think about what you want to have accomplished by the age of 80. What do you want to have done? And what do you want? What do you want to leave behind, and what accomplishments do you want to have? Do you want to have a nice estate? Do you want to have a lot of money for your grandkids and children? What do you want? So do the same test for age 60. And think about, what do you have to accomplish by age 60 to get what you want by age 80? Do this exact same test again for age 50 and 40 and so on, until you get to your age today. And then you get down to the question, what do you have to do today to have what you want by age blank, so that you can have achieved what you want by age blank? Anything you do that isn't taking you toward your goal is only pulling you further and further away from it. I got this test from a book called The One Thing, and it's by Gary Keller. So if you want, you can pause this video right now and give that test a try. See if you can find yourself a goal, something to go after. Don't be caught in an ever-changing fickleness, which is shifting and inconsistent, never satisfied with itself. Seneca says that you will find no one willing to share out his money, but to how many does each of us divide up his life? People are frugal in guarding their property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. Guard your time rather than your money. You can lose money and you can make it back, but time is linear. You can't get it back. You can't go back, and you can't get back lost time, wasted time. So be careful with who you surround yourself with, and do not devote time to those who do not deserve it. Share time with those who will push you forward and help you reach your full potential. Those are the people worthy of your time. So I'm going to go on to read a few sections out of this book that I really enjoyed. Let me look for it. Okay, here we go. It says, people are frugal. Oh, excuse me, wrong. He says, so I would like to fasten on someone from the older generation and say to him, I see that you have come to the last stage of human life. You are close upon your 100th year, or even beyond. Come now, hold an audit of your life. Reckon how much of your time has been taken up by a moneylender, how much by a mistress, a patron, a client, quarreling with your wife, punishing your slaves, dashing about the city on your social obligations. Consider all of the diseases in which we have brought on ourselves, and the time, too, which has been unused. You will find that you have fewer years than you reckon. Call to mind, when you ever have a fixed purpose, how few days have passed as you had planned. When you were ever at your own disposal, when your face wore its natural expression, when your mind was undisturbed, what work you have achieved in such a long life? How many have plundered your life when you were unaware of your losses? How much you have lost through groundless sorrow, foolish joy, greedy desire, and the seductions of society. How little of your own was left to you. You will realize that you are dying prematurely. So what is the reason for this? You are living as if destined to live forever. Your own frailty never occurs to you. You don't notice how much time has already passed, but squander it as though you had a full and overflowing supply. Though all the while, that very day which you are devoting to somebody or something may be your last. You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire. You will hear many people saying, when I am 50 I shall retire into leisure. When I am 60 I shall give up public duties. And what guarantee do you have for a longer life? Who will allow your course to proceed as if you arranged it? Aren't you ashamed to keep for yourself just the remnants of your life, and to devote to wisdom only the time which cannot be spent on any business? How late is it to begin to really live life just when life must end? How stupid to forget our mortality and push off sensible plans to our 50th and 60th years, aiming to begin life from a point at which very few have arrived. He goes on to say something pretty powerful here. He says, but among the worst offenders, I count those who spend all their time in drinking and lust, for these are the worst preoccupations of all. Other people, even if they are all possessed by an illusory semblance of glory, suffer from a respectable delusion. You can give me a list of miserly men, or hot-tempered men, who indulge in unjust hatreds or war. But they are all sinning in a more manly way. It is those who are on a headlong course of gluttony and lust who are stained with dishonor. Examine how all these people spend their time, how long they devote to their accounts, to laying traps for others or fearing those laid for themselves, to paying court to others or being courted themselves, to giving or receiving bail, to banquets, which now count as official business. You will see how their activities, good or bad, do not give them even time to breathe. Finally, it is agreed that no activity can be successfully pursued by an individual who is preoccupied. There's a lot of good stuff in this book, and that's literally the first 9 pages of this book. It is kind of tough. What stuck out to me was Seneca's words about waiting until old age to really begin to live and to do what you want. He basically said, how foolish could you be to expect to really begin life from a point at which very few have arrived? And yeah, I know we can't all do exactly what we want all the time. There's some things you have to do that you don't enjoy, so take this with a grain of salt, but like everything in life, it's the happy medium, that balance, the yin and yang. That's what you're shooting for. So after this video, you should, go do something that you've been putting off, that you know you should do. Do something that's been calling you for years. You just really haven't taken the time to listen. Only you can change your life. But a suppressed life is no way to live. So schedule that flight or call that long-lost friend that you've been wanting to come and get back in touch with. Just do something. Do anything. Think about yourself laying on your deathbed. What's important to you? What do you want to have accomplished? Did you really live life? Or was a majority of your life just spent on heedless luxury or no good activity? Challenge you to live a full life. One that you'd be happy with. What's the legacy that you want to leave behind? So I've decided that I think I'm going to end the video here and create another video that will be covering the other two books, because I don't want to keep you guys for too long, and I don't want to scare you off from listening to the other videos, because there's a lot of good stuff in the other two. And I'm trying to keep these videos a little bit shorter than they had been in the past, just so people can stay a little bit longer and learn more. So this is going to wrap up the first video. You'll be seeing a part 2 here pretty shortly. But thank you so much for watching. I really can't express that enough. And if you guys find value in this, please share it with friends and family, and hit the like button and leave a comment below with maybe something that you've learned. And if there's anything you think I can improve on or you would like me to change, just let me know. And if you have any book recommendations, also let me know, because I would love to read, and I'd love to see what you guys want me to talk about. So thank you so much. See ya.